Hello, friends. Thank you for joining me again today. I am maybe 25 minutes into a painting here. This is actually a wedding painting that I'm doing in my studio. That's because I'm doing a bridal show this weekend. I hope to have you join me there. And I've got to have a painting, a real painting. So I'm actually doing a wedding painting for a dear old friend. And so that I have something to show at the bridal show. That is a real, I've got a whole bunch of copies. Let me show you real quick. So I've printed and mounted, 18, maybe 17 paintings. Here's the couple that I'm painting. So you can see them there already. And here is the background that I'm putting them in front of. It's a beautiful venue. I forget now the name of it, in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. But I want to talk for a minute about what I call here the magic of messy painting. So I'm going to turn you around for a minute and let you see up close again. So this is all definitely underpainting stage. And as I said, I may be 25 minutes into the painting, a little bit more than that because I've taken time with a heat gun to dry some of the layers, a luxury that I have when I'm painting in my studio. I can do that. A little bit more difficult to do that, of course, when I'm at a wedding or a live event. Let me count up with you then the layers, point them out to you, how many layers I've done. The very first thing that I did was some big orange and red marks and this big red circle and a red line there, orange, yellow. That's right, I did yellow, not orange. Yellow, so you can see kind of a big V here. And you see a lot of that still showing through. Okay, that was layer number one. Layer number two is I took these brushes, I think it was, and I did some drawing in orange, real rough. Like I first had the groom's head, that was part of the groom's head, see? And then now he's been moved. The chimney, here's a chimney and parts of the tree, parts of the architecture in the background and so forth. So that was layer number two. Layer number three, and I don't do these always in the same order, but I think layer number three in this case was the now famous or infamous black pencils. I am missing one here because I always draw with two pencils and I've only got one in my hand. Anyway, and again, most of you are familiar with this. This is Jerry's Artorama, and I don't know if you're seeing that backwards or not. Jet black. Here's the other one. Very unconventional, very non-typical to use pencils in an oil painting, and right now it's acrylics, of course. It'll be oil later. Okay, layer number three was pencils. Layer number four was broad glazes, blue and brown, orange, brown here, orange, a lot of blue. That was number four. Oh, and then blue on the groom. That was number four. Number five was white, wherever you see it. Okay, so I've done 5 layers. Every layer very messy. Why? I want to talk about the beauty, the magic of painting messy. Probably one of the most significant turning points in my artistic career took place about 15 years ago. I've been an artist my whole life. I've been a professional artist almost my whole life, mostly an illustrator. 15 years ago, I was painting, oil painting. That was new at the time for me because I did everything but oil paint. And so I was oil painting, and something happened. I could take you to the painting. It's up in my studio upstairs. And my brush did something that I didn't really plan on, that I didn't expect, that I didn't intentionally do. My something with a mind of its own. And if I'd been really locked into hardcore realism, that would have irritated me, of course. But thankfully, I wasn't locked into hardcore realism. Thankfully, I had the intuitive sense to look with my eyeballs and to look honestly at what had just happened and go, huh, that looks cool. I like that right there. And I remember that experience translated. I used to have a one-page document for 12 years probably. It was called The Mostly Immutable Laws of Painting. That was supposed to be funny, mostly immutable. Anyway, either it's immutable or it's not mostly anyway, but most people don't know what immutable means. So I changed it to The Breakable Laws of Painting, which is still on the back burner of a book that I'm writing. One of the laws in the Mostly Immutable Laws of Painting is the best painting happens while you're trying to do something else. And it was in reference to that one fluke. It was a real eye-opening moment. It was like, wait a minute. The best painting is what is an accident. Are you with me? That light bulb really came on. It's like I've probably heard something like that before, but it really got deep into my being. I went, oh, wow, that's really true. Therefore, if it's true, if the best painting happens with a mind of its own, with a sense of paint and brush autonomy, independent of the artist forcing it to happen, just allow things to happen. If that's true, then as artists, we ought to paint all the time with abandon, with looseness, with chaos, with mess. And doesn't that just really describe my approach to painting? Because of that. So I've given you there a little bit of history, a little bit of the thinking behind it. I think this is beautiful. It's abstract. It's not finished. My challenge from this point onward, however, is to try to do a realistic painting on top of this underpainting. And I'm not done with the underpainting at all. But my challenge is to not lose the beauty of this spontaneity. Again, let me bring you in real close so that you can see things. See that color? See that drip? See that kind of grayish color? Look at all these textures. Let me check and you're going to get a better. Oh yeah, good. You're something better. All these colors. Now, of course, I use transparent. That's important. I mean, blue and yellow makes green, correct? And this is blue on top of yellow, but our eye doesn't just see, it's sort of greenish, especially right there. But no, it's so much more interesting than that. And look at that drip. I mean, you can't make that kind of stuff up. Hey, just tubing by. That accident is a gift of discovery. Exactly. You're the man. Or unless you're the woman, I don't know which you are. I think you're a man. Thank you for commenting. Thanks for joining me. Anyway, my point being, all of these accidents, including the drips, all of these smudges, all of these things, you can't pay for this stuff. You can't make this stuff happen. Even up here where originally I thought the groom's head was back here, and then we went, oh no, it's way over here. So what does this become? It just becomes a fascinating, interesting part of the mess, the chaos of the underpainting. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and do some more painting with you while you're watching. And the next step is going to be, and love these brushes. By the way, this one is a rosemary. These are all these, I use Plein Air by Creative Mark a lot. This rosemary gave me this brush, Oil Painters of America a couple years ago, and I need to do a story with them for them. Okay, so I'm down to layer number 6, which is going to be drawing. Drawing again with transparent dark colors and acrylic. I'm looking at my photo reference over here to my left. Two photo references, of course. One is the photo of the bride and groom and one is the background. I'm going to have to make a change in the background because the bride and groom, the light is coming from this way, and in the background, in the landscape photograph, the light's coming from this way. So I'm going to, not too difficult, I don't think, I'm going to switch on the background and make the light coming from here. So it's coming from the same direction as it is on the bride and groom. Okay, so a couple comments. Of course, why am I working in transparent? Well, number one, because the rule is, every rule could be broken, but if you know what the rule is, you're probably just screwing up. If you want to get darker, you do it in oil and acrylics. You do it with transparent colors. Act like you're a watercolor painter, okay? You get darker by putting down layers, but not just is that the rule, that's also by using transparent colors, and by the way, I'm using purple at the moment, simply because purple is the darkest of the transparent colors, and I want to throw down some dark stuff. But you see, when I do that, I'm not covering up, I'm not obliterating, which I would be doing if I were using a traditional opaque, more opaque technique. If I would be covering up and obliterating things that are underneath, and of course I don't want to do that. As I said, there's so much beautiful stuff that's happening on the canvas. I am loath, L-O-A-T-H-E, I am loath to, that comes from growing up with a, English major type person from somebody who spoke the King's English better than the King. We tend toward archaic language just for fun. Anyway, I am loath, that means reluctant, to cover up, again, any of that, the beautiful energy that's there already on the canvas. So I'm not covering it up, I'm just shifting it. I'm not obliterating it. I'm adjusting it, but not ruining it. Okay, this is a tree. I am also, even though it doesn't look like it at the moment, I'm paying attention to composition. I wish I had bigger brushes in my hand at the moment, actually. Couple compositional elements, of course, the law of thirds. This chimney is 1/3, and a related factor related to the chimney is that it goes off the top of the canvas. I talk about that old trick a lot. If you want something in your painting, if you want it to feel as though it's high or tall, you don't paint the top of it. So in fact, the photograph is the same way, but you can see clearly this is a very tall, elegant, extravagant, fancy chimney, and I want it to feel that way, so it goes off the top of the canvas. Now, I'll put these small brushes down. Small brushes driving me crazy. And let's do still, I evolved, by the way. I started with purple, then went to ultramarine, then went to phthalo. And while I had this, I was in the mood for phthalo. While I've got phthalo, going back to ultramarine here, on my brushes, I felt like saying, wait, before we go any further on this painting, let's really nail down some compositional issues. So I hope you can see I believe in painting messy, especially transparent messy. Right at the moment, I'm thinking composition. Let's talk about, I do this a lot, I know. Let's talk about composition again. Let's talk about composition again. We do this often. Some of you need to hear this. I don't know if I want to give you the big version. Let's just get started and see how far we go. Composition refers to the major, not the minor, not the details, the big light and dark areas of a painting. Not color, not lines, not texture, values, lights and darks. And the major light and dark areas, that's what you need to focus on when you're thinking composition. And yeah, I'm not going to give you my full doctoral level lecture. I've done that before. I'm kidding with the doc. Wait, maybe I'm not. Anyway, I'm not going to give you the full thing, but I'll give you just one level. One of the ways to know if you've got a good composition on your painting or good composition developing is if you can describe either, I'll use 2 feet, either the light area shapes or the dark shapes on your painting with one word. I used to say with one simple sentence, but then I realized, oh, there's one noun in it. So the noun is the word. Can you describe the light area or the dark area with one word? If you can't, it might not be a good composition. If you can, probably a good composition. So I'm thinking on the piece of cake. It's already happening. It is already happening. The light area, again, you have to describe the light or the dark, not both. They don't have to both be described in one word. They can be, but only one. Has to be. And it's real simple here. I've got it going already. My light area is a V or a wedge or a shaft of light. Just like that. Here, coming down. Even the bride's dress will go out a light area will go out like that. Boom. Probably a good composition. I think I'm gonna end this broadcast there. Again, my main point was trying to show you the magic, and I explained the beauty, the magic of messy painting. I use this language a lot. Let me say the same thing in different language. You want to create enough chaos. It's my favorite word, mess. You want to create enough chaos in the underpainting stages, many stages of underpainting, so that when you come to the final edit layer, the one layer that could be called overpainting, even though most people don't use that term, but I do, because it's so important. The distinction between those two is so important to me, so I use the term overpainting. You want to create enough chaos or energy in the underpainting that when it comes to the final edit or overpainting stage, you have lots to respond to. There's all kinds of things. The final edit, you decide what to cover up, because the final edit is done primarily with opaque paint. And you cover up what isn't working. But hopefully, if you've done the underpainting right, most of it is working. So you cover up very, 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 very little. That's a lecture for another time. But I'm going to stop there. Hope that was helpful. Let me tell you where I'm going next. And again, I don't always do the same thing, and every painting kind of takes on a life of its own. I'm going to do another layer of white. In theory, each layer becomes a little bit more realistic or accurate than the layer before. If you'll forgive me, another description of good painting. Every layer taken by itself is like crazy chaos, crazy abstract, crazy not realistic, each layer individually. But when combined, the combined effect is realism. Even, in fact, pretty. I'll show you. Here's a, in case you don't know, here's a finished painting. Okay, done the same way as this. Yeah, look in that up corner. Why is the corner orange? Well, because, and this corner up here has hints of purple in it. And I'm not holding, I just grabbed this. I'm not saying this is the best painting ever. Pretty good painting. But it's the underpainting, the chaos in the underpainting. But the point I want to make is I end up with a fairly, in my opinion, fairly representational or realistic painting. But you want lots of stuff to respond to. Okay, so I'm going to do white next. And then I might go straight to oil. I'm not sure. I might do a grid. I keep talking to you guys, don't I? I keep thinking I'm done. I've already made a grid and printed it out and laminated it. I may not need a grid on this painting, so we'll see. Anyway, white, we'll go from there. Thanks guys for watching. If you like this, click like, subscribe, and tell your artistic friends about it. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.